A Texas school district is pulling the Bible from its library shelves. It's among some 40 titles now under review in the Keller Independent School District in Texas, along with Anne Frank's diary, an illustrated version. Right now, Keller ISD's administration is asking our campus staff and librarians to review books that were challenged last year to determine if they meet the requirements of the new policy. Books will be returned to the libraries as soon as it is confirmed that they comply with the new policy. So Lisa, the school district apparently got accused of having books with sexual content, so they put under review all of these books. There were 3 parent complaints about the Bible, one was withdrawn, citing sexual content and violence. My question is, were these people, these anonymous individuals, asleep when they learned that kindergarten through 2nd graders were being taught across the country sexually explicit content like body parts in vivid detail? You don't believe me? Google what they teach in New York City private schools.
Wait, what? So Kayleigh McEnany is leading this story over on Fox News. They're talking about Texas and their book bans. Usually it's a very positive approach to this, but they banned the wrong book. Apparently the Bible, not even banned it. It's under review. Outrage, hair is on fire. How did this whole thing start? You guys might know, but I'll tell you anyway. A day before school began for its approximately 35,000 students, Keller Independent School District announced a last-minute review of scores of books that had been challenged in the previous school year. While those conflicts had already been resolved by book committees made up of parents, librarians, administrators, and teachers, policies adopted earlier this month by the new school board sparked the recall of 41 publications, including classics like Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye. Did you hear them complain about that?
I did not.
There's more though. The removal of Anne Frank's diary adaptation has sparked backlash since it was announced. Not on Fox News though. In a joint statement Wednesday, the Jewish Federation of Fort Worth and Tarrant County and the Jewish Federation of Greater Dallas and its Jewish Community Relations Council expressed disappointment over the decision and urged the school district to, quote, put the book back on the shelf. No, we're not talking about the Bible. We're talking about the Diary of Anne Frank, the illustrated version for children, maybe. Some parents also took aim at the Bible, as she pointed out there. This is when apparently the crap hit the fan. The board cited concerns from parents about mature content, including depictions of sexual activities in the Bible. But in November, a parent also voiced opposition to any variation of the Bible being in schools. A second challenge followed in December. And while a board review initially determined the Bible would remain at its current library location, it too was caught up in Tuesday's sweep. Crazy how that works. Kayleigh McEnany had more to say though about the banning of certain books and her opinion on that. But the Bible is definitely one that shouldn't even be considered or thought about. How could you? Let's watch more of her thoughts.
So to your point, the book Genderqueer, the Washington Post, hardly a conservative publication, as you know.
Yes.
This is how they describe one of the scenes in that book that was also targeted. A sexual fantasy of the authors is depicted in which an apparently teenage youth is about to engage in a sexual act with an older bearded man. But you contrast that, Emily, with the Bible, the most read book in all of human history. In fact, over the last 50 years, nearly 4 billion copies have been sold. Compare that to Harry Potter, which is number 3 at 400 million. Not only that, foundation of the world's largest religion, a classic historical text. If you don't believe it in the religious context, at least we can be appreciated in that context, but that's the one we're removing.
The fact that because one person or 3 people put the Bible on that is absolutely horrifying. This is when the school administrators need to step up and say, absolutely not. You know what? We don't need a committee right now to discuss this for 40 minutes. It's going back on the shelf. But every day without the Bible is a day lost, and that Bible should be back on the shelves.
Agreed.
Every day without the Bible is a day lost. Now we're talking about violence, we're talking about sexual content and things like that. And these books need to be reviewed. Rick, is there anything, I don't know, I'm not gonna ask you, maybe you're not a biblical scholar. But just in case, maybe there's a couple depictions of sex in the Bible, maybe a couple depictions of violence. Maybe the most important aspect of the Bible is some violence.
Right.
It's pretty severe violence, actually. It's devastating, someone dies. Did you know that?
I did. You know, there's a lot of very graphic things in the Bible. I am not a Bible scholar. However, let me just go back to one thing very quickly.
Sure.
I will continually find it odd and weird that the news is being presented to us by somebody that served in administration. I will never be okay with that when it comes to cable news. It doesn't matter who it is. This is it's flabbergasting to see like Kayleigh McEnany, who would go up in front of the press, lie her ass off, and then wear a cross every single time she was out there, then step on this issue and present it to us every single day on cable news. That goes for Jen Psaki as well, and many others that served as press secretary. Will never not be weird to me. Moving forward, one of the other books that I do recall that they banned last year was to educate the youth about the rise of the Klan. That was one that really got to me because it's like, why don't you want people learning this? Like the Bible for me is showing the hypocrisy of the issue that we have, and it's basically shining a mirror to say there is a complete double standard. Look at what you're getting mad at now instead of getting mad at the stuff which is millions of times woke politics, right? There was a speaker who said, quote, "We are very pleased that our new unwoke school board has made these changes." First off, screw you. Secondly, to ban Anne Frank. I don't know if you guys know this, I'm Jewish. And one of the things that we first learned in Hebrew school was about Anne Frank. We learned it throughout our education as well. And I will admit, our education system is badly flawed, where schools still parade Christopher Columbus as this great man, when really he was the very definition of evil. But I will say, even if it's bad, they're making it worse. Like whatever you thought of the school system, which we have learned over the past 3 years is, it's bad.
It's pretty flawed.
It's getting very bad, and it's getting worse. And it is a grassroots, I can't even say grassroots. It is a coalition of this new wave, really a revisited terrible wave of conservatism that has influence, put people in these positions like school boards, controlling what kids teach, because as Donald Trump put it best, he loves the uneducated.
That's the way it's gonna work. And as it goes in, there's these small, I guess, this isn't small to them at least. There's these sweeps that happen, and then sometimes books that you don't want are caught up in it, and they keep talking about parents. I hear Ron DeSantis. I know this was in Texas, but down in Florida, Ron DeSantis keeps talking about how the parents finally have a voice in their children's education.
Oh my God.
Which parents, Ron? Because when other parents who want a voice in their kids' education and maybe don't want things like this being exposed to their children, it turns into how could they? Look at these parents, disasters. It's only the parents that they want to have.
And you know what, real quick, I remember doing a story on the state of Washington where they had somebody run for a school board seat and they homeschooled their kids. Like that's the preposterous nature in which this movement is putting forth. And of course, who was she backed by? The Proud Boys, along with many other extremists that simply want to go into, and to borrow their word when they're talking about non-white people, invade the school board and then influence this next generation.